Florence, 1502. A messenger arrives at dawn, his horse covered in sweat and mud. He carries a letter sealed with black wax, the kind of letter that changes everything. Inside just 3 words, he knows everything. The recipient: Ramiro de Lorqua, the most feared man in the Romagna region of Italy. The governor who had ruled with an iron fist for 2 years. The man who thought he was untouchable because he served Cesare Borgia, the most dangerous prince in Renaissance Italy. Machiavelli's ultimate muse, the man who would inspire the most controversial book ever written about power. But on Christmas morning, 1502, the people of Cesena woke up to find Ramiro's body in the town square, cut in half, displayed like a butchered animal. A bloody sword and executioner's block placed beside him as a message. The man who had been Caesar's right hand, his most loyal enforcer, his trusted governor, executed without trial, without warning, without mercy. Because Cesare Borgia had just administered what Machiavelli would later call the forbidden test, the ultimate way to separate real loyalty from performance, true allies from hidden enemies, the devoted from the dangerous. And by the end of this story, you'll understand exactly how this test works, why it's been used by every powerful leader since, and most importantly, how to recognize when someone is using it on you right now. Because here's what nobody tells you about loyalty. It's the most valuable currency in the world of power, and it's the easiest thing to fake. Let me take you back to understand what was really happening. Cesare Borgia was 27 years old and attempting something impossible. He was trying to unite the fractured territories of central Italy into a single state, a kingdom of his own. His father was Pope Alexander VI, which gave him armies and gold. But it also gave him enemies. Everywhere. Every minor lord, every mercenary captain, every rival family wanted him dead. Assassination attempts were constant. Betrayals were expected. Trust was suicide. So when Cesare conquered the Romagna region, a wild, lawless territory full of petty tyrants and bandits, he needed someone ruthless to tame it. Someone who wouldn't hesitate. Someone who would make people fear the name Borgia. He chose Ramiro de Lorqua, and Ramiro delivered. Oh, he delivered beautifully. Within months, the crime rate plummeted. The bandits disappeared. The rebellious lords fell in line. Ramiro ruled through public executions, torture, and systematic terror. He was efficient. He was effective. He was exactly what Cesare had asked for. The people hated him, but they obeyed. That's what mattered. Niccolo Machiavelli was there watching all of this unfold. He'd been sent as a diplomatic observer by the Florentine Republic. And what he witnessed in those months would haunt him for the rest of his life. Because he saw something that most people miss. He saw Cesare watching Ramiro. Not with gratitude, with calculation. Because Cesare understood something fundamental about power that most people never learn. When you give someone the authority to be cruel on your behalf, you create a dangerous equation. They become powerful, become feared, and eventually, they become a threat. Not because they're disloyal, but because they can be. Think about it. Ramiro commanded the troops. Ramiro controlled the territory. Ramiro had the loyalty of the soldiers who carried out his brutal orders. If Ramiro ever decided to turn against Cesare, he had everything he needed. Cesare needed to know. Was Ramiro loyal because he believed in Caesare's vision? Or was he loyal because it was currently convenient? Was he a true ally? Or was he an opportunist waiting for the right moment to seize power for himself? This is the question that keeps every powerful person awake at night. Because you can never really know what's in someone's heart. You can only test it. So Cesare designed a test. A brutal, brilliant, merciless test. He started spreading rumors. Quiet whispers through carefully chosen messengers. Ramiro is ruling like a king. Ramiro is building his own power base. Ramiro is collecting tribute that never reaches Caesare's treasury. Ramiro is planning something. None of it was true. It was bait. Because Cesare was watching for one thing. How would Ramiro respond? A truly loyal person would immediately seek to clarify, to reassure, to offer transparency. They would come to Cesare and say, "I've heard rumors. Tell me what you need from me. My books are open. My decisions are yours to question." But an opportunist? An opportunist would do something different. They would start securing their position, quietly moving money, building alliances, preparing for conflict. maybe even reaching out to Caesar's enemies to test their options. The rumors were designed to make a guilty person reveal themselves through defensive action. And Ramiro did something even more telling. He did nothing. He didn't defend himself. He didn't seek clarification. He just continued ruling exactly as he had been, with absolute confidence that his results spoke for themselves. With the arrogance of a man who believed he was indispensable, that was the answer Cesare needed. Because here's what Machiavelli observed. True loyalty is insecure. It constantly seeks approval and wants to prove itself. It fears misunderstanding, but false confidence, overconfidence, comes from someone who thinks they hold the real power. Ramiro had stopped seeing himself as Cesar's servant. He'd started seeing himself as Cesar's equal, maybe even his superior. After all, he was the one who had actually tamed the Romania. He was the one the people feared. Cesare was just the prince who gave orders from a distance. This is the shift that gets people killed. So Cesare made his move, but not the way you'd expect. First, he did something genius. He toured the Romania personally. He listened to complaints about Ramiro's cruelty, expressed shock, sympathy. He told the people that he had no idea Ramiro had been so brutal, but this was never his intention. That Ramiro had exceeded his authority, he made Ramiro the villain, and himself, the concerned, merciful prince. Then he sent that letter, the one sealed in black wax. And on Christmas morning, while the people were at church, Ramiro was arrested, tried in secret, and executed. His body displayed in the town square with a message, "Justice has been served." The people celebrated. They praised Caesar's mercy. They called him a just ruler. The man who had ordered every brutal act that Ramiro carried out was now seen as their savior. And Caesar's other governors, his other commanders, his other trusted men, they got the message loud and clear. Your loyalty is always being tested. Your usefulness has an expiration date. The moment you become more feared than loved, the moment you build your own power base, the moment you stop acting grateful, you're already dead. Machiavelli watched this entire sequence unfold, and he understood the dark brilliance of it. This wasn't just about Ramiro. This was about control. It's about sending a message to everyone in Caesar's orbit. And then the Prince Machiavelli wrote about it, not with horror, but with cold admiration. Because he understood that in the world of power, sentiment is suicide. Now here's where this gets personal for you. This test, this forbidden test of loyalty, never went away. It evolved. It got more sophisticated, but the core principle remains exactly the same. It's happening in your workplace right now. When a manager suddenly questions a decision you've been making autonomously for months, when they ask for reports they've never asked for before, when they start seeing people who don't need to be involved, they're testing, are you building your own kingdom, or are you still aligned with theirs? It's happening in your relationships. When a partner suddenly asks where you were, even though they've never cared before. When a friend starts comparing your success to their own. When someone who praised you publicly starts questioning you privately. They're testing whether you're still theirs or whether you've outgrown your usefulness to them. It's happening in politics. When leaders suddenly turn on their most effective deputies, when the person who delivered the results gets blamed for the methods, when the loyal enforcer becomes the scapegoat, it's not betrayal, it's the test. Because powerful people, or people who want to be powerful, they all understand the same truth. The people closest to you are the most dangerous, not because they want to hurt you, but because they can. Constantly. They create small crises to see how you respond. They spread rumors to see if you'll panic. They give you rope to see if you'll hang yourself. They watch what you do when you think they're not watching. And here's the thing that Machiavelli understood that most people never learn. The test isn't about guilt or innocence. It's about control. Ramiro probably was loyal. He probably never planned to betray Cesare. But he had committed a greater sin. He had stopped acting like he needed Cesare, had become powerful in his own right. And in the world of power, independence is the ultimate crime. So what do you do with this information? If you're the one being tested, you need to recognize the signs. Sudden questioning of your autonomy. Unexpected scrutiny of your decisions. People being inserted between you and authority. These aren't random. These are tests. And the right response is not defensiveness. It's not proving your loyalty through words. It's demonstrating your continued dependence. Asking for guidance on decisions you could make yourself. Sharing credit publicly? Making your success about their vision, not your execution. It's humiliating, it's unfair, but it's survival. And if you're the one in power, if you're building something and you need to know who's really with you, then understand this. The forbidden test is dangerous because it destroys trust. Use it too often, and you'll be surrounded by people who are terrified of you, but would celebrate your downfall. Ramiro's execution sent a message, but it also sent Cesare's other governors running to his enemies, because they understood that loyalty was a death sentence, just delayed. Cesare Borgia died at 31, abandoned by his allies, killed in a minor skirmish that none of his former commanders came to help him fight. The man who mastered the loyalty test died alone because he'd tested it too many times. Machiavelli watched that too. And maybe that's the lesson he never quite wrote down. Power requires loyalty, but loyalty requires trust. And trust is impossible when you're constantly running tests. So the forbidden test works. It reveals truth. It maintains control. It keeps people in line. But it has a cost. And that cost is the very thing it's trying to secure. The question is, what are you willing to pay for certainty? And what are you willing to risk for trust? Cesare chose certainty. He died alone. Maybe that's the real test, not of loyalty, but of wisdom.